the Oscar Pistorius trial takes.
Well, a very good morning to you, Leanne. Well, certainly another twist here in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial. Well, that footage was all filmed in October last year at Oscar Pistorius's uncle's home, where the footage can be seen. Oscar Pistorius carrying his sister, Amy Pistorius, in that reenactment, and Oscar Pistorius on his stumps, being quite mobile, moving from one area with an imaginary gun and reenacting the events that led to the shooting and killing of Reeva Steenkamp. And Oscar Pistorius' lawyers, as you've said, Leanne, have really condemned the leaking of this footage. There's also allegations that the footage may have been sold for quite a large sum of money, and basically all of that run on Channel 7 yesterday. And how that plans to emerge in this case this morning is something that certainly remains to be seen. But just to get a little bit of insight on what impact this might have on the case this morning, I'm joined by Dr. Curlewis, who is a law expert, always assisting us here at the SABC to unpack some of the things that might be quite difficult for us to understand here. Dr. Curlewis, thank you very much for your time once again this morning. I want to talk a bit about what impact, if at all, this might have on the case this morning.
I do expect some kind of a robust intervention this morning by one of the parties before court. Obviously, if the state decides to introduce the evidence and confront one of the experts that's currently under cross-examination with the footage, that could be a twist in the tail, and that might be the reason for the chill in the air this morning.
What are we expecting here? Are there grounds for a mistrial? Are there grounds for the state to reopen its case? What is the likelihood this morning?
No, we don't have that kind of situation in South Africa where we have a mistrial per se. At best, at some stage, one of the parties might be inclined to use it for a review application later, on par with an appeal and so on. However, first of all, it haven't been introduced as evidence yet. Second of all, it boils down to reliability, relevancy, and then ultimately admissibility, which is still the decision of the judge to make. One must be certain of the fact that there's a discrepancy between criminal law and procedure and then civil law and procedure. The mere fact that it was leaked and that there might be civil litigation following after this, based on the non-disclosure contract that was signed between the parties, and I'm not talking about the family members, and then obviously the program managers that directed the footage first of all, and the criminal case should be separated altogether. That does not mean that the state is bound by such a contract that was signed between the parties.
Now, we've already heard of the testimony of Professor Durman, where basically his entire testimony related to Oscar Pistorius and his mobility on his stumps, saying that Oscar Pistorius cannot balance on his stumps. Now there's this video that shows Oscar Pistorius able to carry Amy Pistorius, moving quite fast on his stumps. And is this damaging to the defence's case at this point?
Obviously, first of all, if it is on the assumption then obviously that the footage would be allowed in court. Second of all, on the assumption that the court considered it as unbiased and unbellished, then in that instances, then obviously the court might be inclined to deduct from that that the version, once again placed by the defense before court, is unreliable, meaning that there is a discrepancy in Oscar Pistorius' own version and the objective footage that was provided to court. Which is damaging to the defense case, obviously.
Now, the family is saying that this, the leaking of this video is a breach of the disclaimer agreement. And how does that bear in? Can the state act on the video that has come up this past weekend? Just explain disclaimer to us, and whether the state, that is an agreement between other parties, not the state at all.
Remember, the state is not a party to the signature or a signatory to the contract per se. First of all, so they can't be held they are not bound by it, first of all. However, also remember that the defense will probably argue before court that there's some kind of a privilege existing between client and attorney. And then the question amounts to the fact whether this footage could be brought into that perspective. Personally, I do think that Gerrie Nel will have a foot to stand on to try and introduce it as evidence in court. Like I say, he's got basically two opportunities to do so. Either he can confront the defense witness currently on the cross-examination with the footage. Alternatively, he can wait until the footage has been introduced and then ask for the court to reopen his case and then introduce it on that manner.
Dr. Llewellyn Curlewis, thank you very much as always for your time. Dr. Llewellyn Curlewis, give us some insight following the developments of the leaked video showing Oscar Pistorius re-enacting the events before, during and after shooting and killing Reeva Steenkamp. Back to you in studio.